Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about directive principles of state policy. So these important principles which are enumerated are incorporated in part 4 of the Indian Constitution, especially from articles 36 to 51. Okay? So this important part 4 DPSP we borrowed from Irish Constitution of 1937. It means we copied it from the Spanish Constitution. Okay, so almost we refer 60 countries' constitutions to write our Indian Constitution. Especially important features we adopted from different countries' constitutions. Okay, so next one is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the father of the Indian Constitution. He described these principles as novel features of the Indian Constitution. Okay, and the directive principles along with the fundamental rights contain the philosophy of the constitution. Okay, so both DPSP and fundamental rights, the both combined, whenever it was combined, they contain the philosophy of the constitution. And DPSP and fundamental rights, this is known as the soul of the Indian constitution also. Okay, according to the Granville Austin, he was an American historian. He has described the directive principles and fundamental rights as conscience of the Constitution is nothing but moral sense of the Constitution. They gives moral sense to the Constitution according to the Granville Estate. Okay, so it is very important to know the directive principles of state policy. Let's come to the main topic, that is features of the directive principles of the state policy. So the first point is directive principles of state policy, which denotes the ideals, the main important principles that the state should keep in mind, especially while formulating or implementing some policies and while enacting laws, such laws. Okay, so here the state has a responsibility to keep in mind these directive principles while formulating policies or enacting important laws in the society. Okay, and these are the constitutional instructions are, so it means these are the recommendations to the state, especially in legislative, executive and different administrative matters. Okay, so these are one type of the instructions or giving recommendations to the state while they are performing in legislative organ, executive organ and in different administrative matters also. Okay, so here 36 to 51 articles which deals about the directive principles of the state policy, right? So let's come to the discussion with the article 36, the first article which comes under the DPSP under part 4 of the Indian Constitution. First article is a 36 article, that is which tells about the definition of the state in part 4 has the same meaning which is in the part 3 under the fundamental rights. Okay, so in fundamental rights article 12 which tells about the state, it includes the government and parliament of India, that is nothing but union government like executive and the legislative organs of the union government, and government and the legislature of the state also, that is executive and legislative organs of the state government. And next to the state same meaning means all local authorities like municipalities, panchayats, district boards, and important trust groups also. And same state definition means all other authorities like statutory bodies and non-statutory bodies like LIC, ONGC, etc. It means the state has been defined in your ideal sense to as to the included all its agencies, the government agencies. It has to give some state definition. It is one type of the wider sense. Same state definition which is in the Article 36 of the Directive Principles of the State Policy. Okay. So here let's come to the second important feature under the DPSP. It defines the directive principles defines or resemble the like instrument of instructions. Okay, instructions are nothing but giving instructions, like recommendations, or giving some features to follow. Okay, so these are enumerated, especially we adopted this feature from the Government of India Act 1935. Same feature which was present in the Government of India Act 1935, which was passed by the British government in India. Okay, so in other words, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he told about that directive principles are like instrument of instructions, what we adopted from the Irish Constitution. This also was present in the Government of India Act 1935. Actually, instrument of instructions that was in the 1935 Government of India Act, which were issued to the Governor General. Okay, especially uh, Governor General, and to the governors of the colonies of India also, other governors and Governor General of India by the British government, especially under the Government of India Act 1935. So this is one type of the giving or passing instructions to the Governor General of India and to the governors of the colonies of India. Okay, so that's why we are calling directive principles is merely, it is another name for the instrument of instructions. Okay, at present we are calling directive principles of state policy because the constant makers, they told about the instrument of instructions. Once upon a time it ruled our country, it was given to the Governor General. Okay, so at present the name of the instrument of instructions is like directive principles of state policy, what we adopted from the Irish Constitution. Okay, the name is different but everything which is in the same manner. And the third important feature of the DPSP, which constitute a very comprehensive economic, social, and a political program. Okay, for a modern democratic state. So here, the main aim is to realize the justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, as we see it in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. These terms we have to listen in the preamble. Okay, so here the overall comprehensive program is economic, social, and political justice, like liberty, equality, everything which is regarding on the basis of the economy we have to improve, and on the basis of the society we have to improve, on the basis of the political program also it has to give some important principles by the state government. Okay, so finally, the main aim of directive principles of state policy is welfare state. Okay, so to care about to look about the people's welfare. Okay, especially this is the responsibility of the state or country to look about the welfare of the people. Okay, so that's why here the main concept of the directive principles of state policy is welfare state, to become the welfare state, not like a police state like which was existed during the colonial rule or colonial era by the British government. Okay, and main idea of this DPSP is to establish economic and social democracy in the world. Okay, and next one is directive principles are non-justiciable in nature. It's nothing but they're not legally enforceable by the courts whenever the DPSPs were violated. Like fundamental rights are justiciable. If any person's fundamental right is affected, we have to go to the Supreme Court or High Court to enforce them back. But in DPSP, these are non-justiciable. It means there is no justice for the people whose DPSP were affected. Because here, to increase the economic condition of the people, especially poor and middle class people, and to increase the social values of the people. Okay, so that's only the government is giving these instructions. Okay, for example, according to the DPSP, the government has responsibility to provide subsidies to the poor people like ration cards and construction of the houses and giving loans with low interest rates like Dwakra. So these are only for the BPL families and poor families and middle class families. But on the basis of right to equality, like Article 14 and Article 19, we are not able to give back those directive principles. Okay, here on the basis of their family income, on the basis of their status, on the basis of their class only, these directive principles can be applicable. Okay, on the basis of the right to equality, we are not able to move to the Supreme Court or a High Court to keep petitions on such violation. Okay, because directive principles of state policy are non-justiciable. There is no justice will be given to your persons if your person has uh, if your person's directive principles were affected. Okay, so that's why DPSPs are non-justiciable in nature. Okay, and coming to the second article, that is Article 37, which tells about that these principles are fundamental, the basic principles in governance of any country, our country. Okay, and it shall be the duty of a particular state to apply these principles in making laws. Okay, so here especially these are the fundamental principles of the country's governance, and the duty, the entire responsibility or duty was given to the states, the individual states, while they are doing important or making such laws. Okay, these principles can be applicable in those laws. Okay, so here directive principles are non-justiciable. Okay, so even though it helps the courts to examining or determining the constitutional validity of a law, because here, if your court finds that law in question seeks to give effect to the DPSP, it may also consider such law to the reasonable in relation to Article 14 and 19. First of all, it has to clear the conflicts with Article 14 and 19. So then such laws save such law from the unconstitutionality. Okay, so we have to maintain the constitutionalism. Everything which is going on the basis of the constitution, on the basis of the articles, on the basis of the amendment acts from the constitution. Okay, if anything is wrong, the DPSP can be tell about the constitutionality of the constitution in relation to Article 14 and 19, equality before law. Okay, so this is all about the important silent features of the directive principles of state policy. So in the next class we have to discuss about the classification of the directive principles, like socialistic principles, Gandhian principles, and liberal principles. Okay, thank you.